Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Well, today, Matchbox March, episode 5. Matchbox strikes back. Or do they? So we're going to have a look at a variety of interesting kits, I think. I've got to be honest, I was getting into a mode after episode 4 where I was thinking I'm going to show all these kits. You just can't. There's just too many. I think it would get boring for me and for you, even more so. So I think what we'll do is we'll focus on the ones that I think are the most exciting, or the ones that, like we did with the Buccaneers and the Jaguars, where there's some interesting or unusual features in them which are worthy of having a chat. One of the very exciting kits, I've got to say, I don't own, of course, and I don't have anymore, which is one that was loaned to me, which was the Flower Class Corvette ship. So, and I would say to you, all of you that say, oh, he's not done such as, oh, I didn't do such and such this time. I would be repeating a lot of what I've done in the past if I was to simply dive into every kit and do like a mini review even. So any Matchbox kit, and I haven't done them all, I've done about 3/4, maybe 80%. But any Matchbox kit that you are interested in or like or had, and you want to see me do the review of it, either go into the search and put my name, Peter Oxley, Matchbox, Focke-Wulf or Spitfire or Tomcat, whatever it is, USS Indianapolis. Just put it in the search, and if it doesn't come up, then I didn't do it, the chances are. The chances are that most of them I did do, and you will be able to see probably a very detailed review. So I just want to say that because I realised as I started carrying on with these many Matchbox lost arcs that it's just coming at me like a tsunami, and I'm thinking, hang on a second, people will get fed up with this, I think, if I do too much of it. So I know that you are enjoying this a lot. From the incredible feedback has been, if anything, already even more positive than previous years. I don't know why. Maybe I've developed my technique better, or maybe it's just that people are more switched on or aware of them who weren't before, perhaps. I mean, we've still got some of you indulging in this pagan festival, the Matchbox March Flory Pagan Festival, where people actually build them. Now, some of you, I've seen some of the work, and it's amazing. I've got to say, it's fantastic. And some of them, I look at them, I think, well, it doesn't look like a Matchbox anymore, and that's very good in terms of the sheer skill that's been applied to them and the finished results. But for me personally, just speaking personally, that kind of goes away from what I enjoy about Matchbox, in that for me it's about nostalgia, really. It's not about model making in the way that, doing a new Tamiya or a Ming or, ICM or whatever. These are a bit of history, really, and I think we have a lot of us have got this mutual shared history. So you don't want to burn in hell for just desecrating one of the originals. God will never forgive you for doing that. And or as David, my friend, says, it's worse. You could burn in Hull, and that's far worse than burning in hell. But anyway, I don't know why he doesn't like Hull. Actually, that's probably not a very good joke anymore after this recent unfortunate accident in the North Sea just off Hull with the the tanker carrying fuel and a container ship. Anyway, I know that there's been a fatality there, so condolences to the family of the lost sailor. That's very unfortunate. Very nasty accident. Anyway, mustn't digress. So, we'll stick to burning hell, I think. That's what will happen to you if you take one of these original absolute classics. So let's have a look at one or two of the things that I'm going to do. Purple Range again today, and then as we move on in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see me digging into the Orange range, and I'll do the same thing again. We'll perhaps try and dig into the ones I haven't looked at so much. So I'm probably going to look at things like maybe the Mosquito and the Mitchell and things like that. And we'll have a look at some of those lovely armour dioramas in the Orange range where they have a building and some added bits of figures and things. Some of the interesting ones. But here we've got a bit of a collection, which many of you I know will recognise. And we're going to start with, there's two I want to start with because of they've got interesting colours. So one of them, the colour makes absolute sense, and on the other one it makes absolutely no sense. But they're both extreme colours. Let me show you. Now here I've got the Gnat Mk.1 trainer, the Folland Gnat, which is the ubiquitous trainer jet for the RAF in the 60s and 70s until it's replaced by the Hawk. and of course was the ship of the Red Arrows, the aircraft of choice for them. And it's got a very, very nice artwork. Let me just zoom you in for this. Now this unfortunately has been slightly desecrated, but I do like the fact it's a lift top box, so I haven't sort of, you know, built it just because somebody's written on it rather stupidly their stash number. This is why I think it pays to do what I do. I'll just show you here. I have a peelable label, so I can remove that without any residue, instead of writing your stash number on here. Whoever did this, if you recognise this, you bow your head in shame. How could you? How could you? It's almost as bad as building it, isn't it? So I'm just going to have a quick slug of coffee. Excuse me. So what's interesting about this one is, as I mentioned, it's the colour. So let's take our lift top box off. Mark 1, 1970. I think 72. This one. Did I check that? I didn't check it. Did I? Oh, bright orange and bright red. We're going to have. You're going to enjoy this. What's the date on it? And it says 73. In fact, I thought it said 72. But it's some very, very loud, and it's almost like McLaren fluorescent red. It's not cherry red. It's a very, very bright colour, but it's not out of place for the Red Arrows. I think they chose this well. Why they chose this though, that's quite another matter. I think I know what it is. It's because the first display team, but with the Gnat, was actually the flying yellow. What were they called? The Yellow Jacks. Yellow Jacks, I think they were called, and they were this colour, in fact. So it's almost as though they couldn't decide whether to do it as Yellow Jacks. What they should have done is done an option for both Red Arrows and Yellow Jacks, I think. Instead of which, they actually just did a trainer. See that? A trainer version and a Red Arrow version. So it's a bit of a shame because the Yellow Jacks are actually quite cool and something different if you could have had it in that scheme. Anyway, it doesn't. It comes with this one. Aren't they? Isn't it a bright colour though? Look at that. Oh my lord. So you got that, and then you've got this almost a lip cherry red. It's not really red. It's got an orange hue to it. I say it's like the McLaren fluorescent red on the McLaren race cars, Marlboro colour. You know, a bit wild, really. It's a bit. I don't know what it's coming out like on the camera. I mean, I can see it in the distance there. Just make an excuse, by the way. People sometimes say to me, quite legitimately say, I really enjoy your vids, but sometimes it gets a bit out of focus and you don't seem to notice, and you keep moving it around too much. So the problem is I can't see the focus well. It's too far from me to actually know it's in focus. So I'm adopting a policy now of having little pause like this, and hopefully the camera has time enough to get its act together and get into focus like this. Voila. So instead of doing this, which I tend to have a habit of doing, I'm going to hold it still, let the focus take a grip of it. There we are, just in case. Sometimes the background can be a problem as well. Anyway, there you go. So it's very, very loud indeed. And I mentioned that one because we have another one very similar, which in fairness is... Many of you have mentioned this one actually in the course of the chat in the last couple of videos. So I thought it was definitely worth getting it out. MD was one of the people that mentioned this, wasn't he? It's the Brewster Buffalo. And on this one, this is a classic example of where Matchbox have got these multiple colours. And you look at them and think, why? What was your decision process for these colours? So check this out, you ready? So it looks absolutely brilliant. Another magnificent piece of artwork, which is definitely Roy Huxley. It's signed by him. And it's the first encounter with the Zeros. I'm sorry to say it actually didn't go too well for these Buffaloes. They were not fast enough, they were not manoeuvrable enough, and they were just not armed enough. And the Zeros were just faster and better manoeuvrable, and they got shot to pieces really. And it wasn't long before they were no longer used. However, oopsie poopsie, who thought this was a great idea? Strawberries and cream. Now it looks a bit orangey, I notice in that, as I see it there. Slight orange hint to it. I don't think it is. I think if anything this is redder than the other one, but let's have a look. Oh yes, I think it's the same as the Gnat. I think it's the same. It's like it's been produced on the same day. Going back to what we talked about before with you know, production runs and all that stuff. So let's have a look. Come on. I'll just pull you back a bit for this. I mean, when you're a kid, you think, oh, and it's kind of, if you're that age, you know, I was 7, I think, when this came out, and you think, oh, that's cool, that's cool. And very quickly, somebody at school will say, that's a bit of a sissy colour. That's sissy, it looks stupid. You think, oh, and then you see a photo of the real aircraft, and you think, oh, no, this isn't good. So we got strawberries and cream, basically, or maybe strawberries and fawn. So here we go. Actually, this one isn't as extreme. I've seen ones where it was whiter. We talked about variations within the plastic colours themselves, where it creeps lighter or darker. So there's the sort of a creamy fawn colour for the wings and the tailplanes. And then here, yes! Oh my lord! I mean, the Japanese would see that coming. It's like talk about the rising sun. It's like the rising sun of Australia or Royal Air Force, this one. Oh my god, you couldn't miss them, could you? Can you imagine that? Against the dark sky, it'd be like a huge flying target, which is what they were, but not for that reason. But that's extreme, isn't it? I'm just going to go back to the Gnat, just for interest. Just to have a look at it, if it is exactly the same shade or not. I think it pretty much is. Actually, the Buffalo, I don't know if you'll be able to tell this on the camera, but the Buffalo is actually slightly darker. Only a whisker, can you tell? Yeah, you can see, I think. It's a little bit darker, it's not quite as extreme as the Gnat. But even so, I mean, bright red, you know, strawberry red. It looks like a strawberry, doesn't it? Reminds me of a strawberry split, one of those fantastic Wool's ice creams. In fact, that's what it is. That's what's in my memory. I never even thought this before. It's a strawberry split. Even the colouring of the inside. It's like that's the inside with the ice cream in it, and that's the outside with the strawberry. It's like a strawberry sorbet almost, wasn't it, around the outside? Okay. A little bit bizarre, if we're being honest. Right, I'm going to put these two away, and we shall move on from those rather amusing two slightly more serious ones, I think. But yeah, I think you really need to paint your Brewster Buffalo, is what I'm really saying, I think, because I think having it looking like a strawberry split of 1970s ice cream isn't great, really. It's almost like, you know, it's almost like it was like 1973. Was it 73 then? 74 actually. Well, I remember 74 was a fairly warm summer. It's like they're sitting there in the office at Lesney in London and they're saying, oh gosh, it's a hot day, you know, go and get some ice creams, Vera, secretary or something, you know. Sexist, I didn't mean to sound sexist. But that's probably the way it was. And she comes back and they've all got strawberry splits and then they're sitting there racking their heads about what to do with the of the colours for the kit. I've got this in there, here we go again. And then they just sit there and it's almost like subliminal advertising. And they just see the strawberry and sort of cream colour and they just go for it. And what is wrong with that? Come on, get in. Stupid, go on. You've seen a man have such trouble just getting the Matchbox kit back together. There you go. And it's almost like it's subliminal advertising and they've just said, I'll tell you what, let's go with red and cream. Crackers. Anyway, that's those two. I want to talk about when the quality of Matchbox, in terms of the design and the concept, went a bit wrong. Somebody was talking, somebody mentioned the Victor, one of you, I can't remember who it was now. I chat to so many people on the live chat, I lose track. But one of you said the Victor was a wonderful kit. I think it was Barry I think it was Khan! Barry over in the USA, who's not actually American. I think it was him that said I had the Matchbox picture, it's a fantastic kit. And I said, what? It's got huge raised paddle lines all over it. But he's not the only one. And they had this schism with a few of them. And here is, and I believe Phil Flory's building this for his pagan festival. He basically compared me, alluded me as if I was like Count Dracula the other day. Very rude of him, but anyway. But he's building this for his sins, and he has got many sins. And he was doing a fine job as usual, of course, but he'd rubbed all this problem away and was rescribing it all, a complete engineering job, you know. But you'll see why he needed to do that when I show you this. Because it has got the most horrible and completely OTT raised panel lines all over it. And I remember doing the review of this and saying, why? Why is that? Why have they gone for that? That makes no sense to me. And it's really, yeah, it's really bad. And it's actually a nicely moulded kit. So it's just, why did they make that choice? It's almost like they let someone who didn't know anything about the aircraft, or I don't know. You notice it especially on the fuselage. Can we see that? Can you see those lines? Oh, it's pretty awful. Yeah, that's not nice. Yeah, so Phil had actually, he'd rubbed it all down and then he was re-scrabbing it and what have you, so doing his usual thing to make it more of a professional job, you know. But it is a bit baffling that, you know, Matchbox made a choice like that when, you know, it really does look obvious to anybody with the faintest bit of knowledge that that's not right. And they just occasionally drop the ball like that. Not in terms of quality, because there's no flash on this. It's beautiful. Just the concept isn't good, you know. It's like, why did you make that choice? You don't normally do that. You didn't do that on the Tempest or ME262. We'll have a look at those in a second. It's like, why would you do that then? It seems a bit of a strange thing to have done, you know. Right, I'm going to try and do a better job of this. Bear with me a second. There we go. No messing this time. Sometimes they just don't like going in. That's that sort of thing. It's a nice kit. Nice kit. Warhawk, Kitty Hawk, Tomahawk. It gets very confusing, doesn't it? Actually, the experts amongst you will know about that. Before I get onto the ones in front of me, I thought we'd look at the Panther. Nice kit, which is, I was saying, it's relatively rare, not super rare or anything, but there are not that many Panthers. When you go to shows and look amongst them, you very rarely see a Panther. It's a shame they didn't do a Tiger as well, I think. I think they would have done a nice Tiger, but of course Airfix had one, didn't they? It is one of the slightly more disappointing in the range, only in that kind of a bit simplistic, and the diorama hasn't had a lot of effort put into it. It's just a bit of a tree sticking out of the ground, and that's it. There's no figure or anything. And what was the other one? Was it the Priest? Another one that was really poor in terms of the diorama. I think it's the Priest, which is barely big enough to take the actual armour model. When you consider things like the Wespe, which I've just produced from behind here, it's about to fall. I don't want that to happen. Think about the Wespe, which comes with a beautiful palm tree, a commander figure, and a mechanic. You know, and it's got an adequately sized base, diorama base, and a mechanic is working with his oversized spanner. We'll come to that in a second. And then you got this rather pathetic one, which has got nothing. You know, I mean, again, think about the T-34 with the tank crashing through the fence and the soldier, and yeah, I think they needed a figure. They needed a figure, and they did the same on the Panzer IV, didn't they? With all it had, that was nothing at all. A bit of sort of just a bit of a desert incline with the skull of an ox or a cattle skull. And that was it. Didn't work really. I mean, the cattle skull was great, but the base was very, very basic and a bit poor really. I'll let you look inside though, because I say it's not one of the more common ones, this. Oh, and this one's been bagged at the look of it. That's it. Oh no, it's just, oh my god, what colour is it? An extreme colour. Oh my god, stand by for this, you're not going to be expecting this. Now that there is exactly what I remember when I built it last, back in the day. That's correct. What have we here? First of all, we've got some of those bing, snappity snap metallic tracks. These seem to be more common than I remember actually. I thought they were usually black. Very odd. What year is this? This is not an original box, Mark 1 box. It's a 1983. So this is just after. This is literally just after Matchbox went bust, and before. So Universal Models in Macau had taken them over, but they hadn't yet put any of the Chinese writing on. Or all they've done is got rid of the cutting out of this to make it cheaper, which they may have been planning anyway. I don't know. And they've got a barcode, which is a new thing as well. Very new technology then. But, you know, they haven't gone to the Chinese writing yet, which means it's probably still being made in London, actually, I think. Does it say? Printed and made in England, it says at the bottom. So this is basically them picking up the pieces of what's left of Lesney and saying we'll carry on producing them and then we'll transfer to Macau, which is what they did. And as I say, you've got your tracks. Now, whether these tracks came in with the Macau production, I don't know. I don't remember them being silver. And again, actually, I'm right, aren't I? Because look, they're black. So there was a change took place here. They were black originally, and that's the way I remember it. I didn't have silver tracks on my Panther. So they made some changes, didn't they? Not good ones. Wait till you see these, though. Are you ready for this? Oh, it's skin coloured. It's flesh coloured. What is that all about? A flesh coloured Panther, really? I mean, it's almost like they're going for a sort of a deserty look, I suppose, but it's not really deserty, is it? That is kind of odd. I think that's very bizarre, to be honest. I don't remember this. Is that the same on both the Panthers? I've got a couple of them. I'm going to check. Would you bear with me and indulge me for a moment, because I think you find this interesting. I don't think this is typical. And I've got another Panther. Let's just see if that's the same as this or not, because that would be quite revealing, I think. Let me just move that out and see if I can spot the other Panther. Where is it? Oh, it's not there. There it is. Ah, there's one that's not sealed. There's one that's not. So I've got three of them. Yeah, there you go. Proving my point. Proving my point. This is the normal setup with black. There we go. So I am dead spot on. Hey, I got things right. So look, it's got black tracks, normal tracks. And this is one of the originals from '73. With the, so I should have shown this, shouldn't I? Really, as an example. So this is the original version, showing the original colours, and it's got black tracks. It's 1973. It's got a window in the box. Black tracks that are still usable, perfectly flexible. Those are absolutely fine. And then the colours shows this variability that I talked about in the other video in episode 2. So yeah, so we've got what is actually a sand colour. See the difference with the colours? Flesh coloured, sand coloured. Sand coloured is better, I think. And then we have the base in the slightly darker, like a light flat earth colour. Or in the 1983 version, you can have bum bum bum. Ah! It looks like something from a packet of Spangles, for God's sake. Oh my lord, that is giving me a migraine. I'll tell you that now. Oh my lord, look at that. Can you believe this? I have to be honest with you. The camera is not doing justice to just how loud this is. It is day glow orange. There is no other word for it. And on the camera it doesn't look quite as bad as it actually does to the naked eye. Oh, I couldn't work with this all day. I reckon it's about 2.5 times as bright and as extreme as it looks on the video that you'll see. It's extreme. Look at it. I mean, really? Why would you want the earth to be tango coloured, bright orange, like something out of a packet of Spangles? Well, when I started this video a little while ago, I didn't know this. This is actually come as a shock. I'm not sure if I've actually opened that before. It makes me wonder, this 1983 boxing. That is just weird. So we've got like flesh tone and orange Spangles, you know, day glow orange. And then those horrible, horrible tracks. How very, very bizarre. So this goes back to, as I said, episode 2, when I was talking about very odd variations. And I mean, what kit would really... What Matchbox kit would need bright day glow orange in it at all, really? I'm trying to think of anything, really. Well, that is very extreme and very, very strange. I think that's the strangest thing I've encountered in the Matchbox kits, and I don't remember it at all. So I mustn't have opened that box before. So that's the 83 later boxing, and then here's the more traditional, the early one with the sand colour and the sort of flat earth colour, which is much more normal. Much more normal. So I'm going to pop that back in there. Anyway, it does. For those of us, many of you have got these kits, of course. Just going to think about old friend John Bevan, whose tracks I snapped, and I remember saying, "Oh, I don't remember them being silver." So something changed, didn't it? So John, if you've still got your box, don't know if you've kept the Honey Stewart box. Just go back, look what year it was, because I've got a sneaking suspicion it might be around 1983, 82, 83. And it's as though they changed things, isn't it? It's certainly starting to look that way. Yes, I can. It didn't go in. Excellent. But it's nice to have the black normal tracks, and they're rubbery, but they haven't gone to chewing gum. You know, they are usable. Those are actually nice. That's a nice one actually there. That's a nice Panther. This one less so. So anyway, I shall put that back if you just indulge me for one moment. I want to protect the good one. Make sure. Okay, just bear with me a second. Put it back in my carton. I've got a third one, but that's definitely a later one that's shrink wrapped. So because it hasn't got a window, we can't tell what's in that one really. How very bizarre. I'm quite enjoying this though, because I've learned something there that actually I didn't know either. I didn't expect that there'd be that much of an extraordinary extreme difference. Right, I mentioned the Wespe. Seems right, and then we'll go on to aircraft. I think it seems right that we would look at the Wespe, because this is Wespe is German for wasp, as you might imagine, and it's really, really nice. This one is. It's so I just move my coat out of the way there, because that's going to block the light a little bit for us. Put that over there. Right, there we go. Wespe. Well, it's rather nice, and this is one of the originals. This is 1974, genuine article with a window box, as you can see. And yeah, and it's in pretty good condition. I'd say it's sort of 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10 condition. Just a slight discoloration and the sticker on the back, but apart from that, the front seems fine. Sometimes a lot of these have been in shop windows, and that's the ones that you see that are really discoloured. But even then, you know, they had fairly good light fast inks in those days. They didn't have this stupid some acrylic inks that we have today that don't last 5 minutes in the sun. Let's see if we can get this out for you. And I think you're going to see the exact same two colours, yeah you are, that we saw on the Panther. So we've got the sort of deserty sand colour. Actually, it's not quite the same colour. It's slightly, it has got a slight orange tint to it, but it's not tango orange. Let's zoom in here a little bit. Yeah, so that's a really nice looking kit, and I know people that have built this, and it's, yeah, it always builds up really well. I haven't actually built the Wespe. I don't think I did. Did I? Did I though? I'm struggling to remember. I've got a feeling I didn't. With one or two of these armour kits, they were really nice, and I liked them, but they would come out, and every week there'd be like 4 or 5 kits new would seem to come out. And there'd always be 2 or 3 aircraft, and I tended to migrate towards the aeroplanes. But look at the excellence of this. It's got the tank. It's got the tank's tracks. Well, it's a self-propelled gun, isn't it? Not a tank. And then it's got the cracking of the desert floor. You know, the way that the earth is parched and cracked. And then you've got this wonderful palm tree leaves. I'm just going to move that out of the way, because I think we're getting a little bit of disturbance from there. There we go. Get more focus now. Look at that. Palm tree leaves, and isn't that nice? Paint them up right, and I've seen many people do this, and they've come out really well, the kit has. And here is our mechanic with his outrageously oversized spanner. I mean, that is like a nut. It's almost like a modern day Porsche racing car, you know, centre lock nut. It's that huge. It's massive. But it is quite amusing, isn't it? Excellent. So there you have it. So that's your Wespe. Where was the gun? I didn't really see the gun. There's the gun. There's the gun. There's the gun itself. Let's have a look. Sort of missed that. The curvy bit is the this bit here is the actual palm tree trunk, and then here's the gun just underneath it. There we are. It's nice, isn't it? It doesn't have a hollowed out barrel, unfortunately. It's before the days of slide moulding, of course, so we can't expect too much, I suppose. But a very nice kit, that, and a popular one. Definitely one to try and have in your collection, or, you know, as I've said before with these in particular, you can always get the Revell, the reboxing. I might do that. I might buy a Revell reboxing of this, and I'd quite like to build that actually. I think it would look really cool. put that over there. Put it that way or that way? Yeah, we'll put it that way. A very nice thing, and of course it comes with its proper purple range. Oh, these decals don't look too special. Look at this. See what you think. I think they've seen slightly better days, and this was the problem. It was the sort of glassine tissue paper that they used. It really degraded and went miscoloured and crinkled up, and it often took the backing paper with it. And I think a lot of the problem was, in fact, you see on the back it's discolouring. Not too good. But then we've got our nice original 1974 instructions. Also a little bit discoloured. Yeah, a little bit of crinkling and discoloration going on here. Not my mintest kit, this one, but you can see the basic steps there for the construction, including the gun. And I say getting those rubber tracks on shouldn't be difficult. And then they have this very strange habit of having a tiny instruction pane, a very small one for some reason, for the actual diorama, which I would have thought would have warranted a bit more than that, but anyway. And then finally, the main final construction now, the top hole going on and meeting the other hole and all the armour going on. A nice kit, very impressive indeed. So that's your Wespe. Doesn't say much about it, it's only got 4 lines. Is it 4 lines? 5 lines. Not a lot, not a lot really. So, what's next? A treat is in store for you. Spoiling you all again. Oh dear. When are you going to pay me, you guys, for this? You never get paid. Huh? I think I should charge each and every one of you £5. I'm still trying to get me £5 for the Jaguars. If that doesn't work, maybe I can charge £5 for these vids. Send each and every one of you a shocking great invoice, yeah. Worth a try. Don't ask, you won't get. I said to Jeff72 and he said, I'll buy you coffee, and I said, an Irish coffee? And he said, okay, why not? If he sees me, that is. Right, so I've got 4 more, so I'll tell you what I will do. I'm going to leave, I'm going to do the Messerschmitt, because I think that's a very, obviously a hugely popular kit with many of you who have built this kit. And it has got this, one of Roy Huxley's finest. I put it in the top 3 probably. And you know, they're so close, aren't they? They're all so good. But you've got a Hurricane that this aircraft has just downed. You've got another Hurricane at the top. Lots of violence in this image. That Hurricane hasn't gone down well. It's in flames. And it's the 109 here, of course. It's got the cannon and the spinner. And it's the North Africa campaign, clearly. And it's JG27 at Derna in Libya. This is what was it? Joachim Marseille. What was he? White? Was he White 13? His number? I can't remember. But Joachim Marseille. It's not him that's depicted, but it's his squadron, I think. And then you got a Romanian. I never really liked the Romanian option. I thought that was a strange thing to do. I dislike that because it is not logical for me. How many people that buy this kit want to build it in the Romanian scheme? Yes, of course some will, but as a percentage, come on. Why wasn't it a Battle of Britain scheme? It's just that they didn't want to do the Battle of Britain for some reason. I would have made it Battle of Britain as the second option. I think you've got to go with the African scheme because it's just so colourful as the first option, and Roy's artwork was so fantastic. But no, that doesn't do it for me. The Romanian one, no, crazy. Anyway, let's have a look at it then. So here we've got, because it's got this North African sort of emphasis, it's got these sort of North African colourings, which I suppose doesn't look so good for the Battle of Britain, of course, but there we go. It is a rather extreme scheme. So let's have a look and see what we think of this classic. Now this is a genuine 1973 original, first boxing. So, you know, it's not one of the later, you know, it's a proper Leslie product, the original, the best. And be careful here, get my canopy out. Definitely worth a look. I really like this. I've always felt it was definitely one of the favourites, and it's a better model than the Spitfire is actually, because the Spitfire's a bit. Spitfire and the Hurricane, they didn't do it well on two of their first models. This one was done a little bit better, I think, in terms of its appearance. Well, the Spitfire's got, the shaping's not quite right. The Hurricane has got its wings with, it's got dihedral wings like a Spitfire, which looks completely wrong. So you need to work on that. If you build the kit, you'll need to. I will show it to you at some later point. You can see for yourself. And I didn't correct it. I just built it out of the box. But anyway, let me read you what it says here. So it says, I might need my other glasses. It's not too good. Having been told that no production order was forthcoming, Messerschmitt nevertheless began drawings of the 109 in the summer of 1934. They produced a design which was completely radical, using all the latest features. I need my other glasses for this. I'm going to have to know in a second. Definitely need my other glasses. Using all the latest features. The original prototype flew in 1935 using a Rolls-Royce Kestrel engine. Rolls-Royce Kestrel engine. Whoopsie poopsie. We've done it again. When will we stop giving people, other people, our engines so that they can make enemy fighters? You know what I mean? Oh boy. Anyway, that was in 1935, and it used the Kestrel 640 horsepower engine for our sins. Was it inverted? I wonder. I think the first versions had it not inverted, didn't they? But the Kestrel's a different kettle of fish anyway. After some use by the Nationalists in the Spanish Civil War, the aircraft was developed from the BF-109. Was developed from the BF-109B1, and the later UMO engine was in production throughout 1938. And with the advent of the Daimler-Benz DB600 and 601 engines, the machine then became the BF-109E, with its engine inverted, and this was to equip almost the whole of the German fighter force for the first 18 months of World War II. The model depicted is the 109E3, doesn't say E, but it should. It's the E3 using the Daimler-Benz 601 and has some modifications to the canopy. Oh, what does it now? Wow, that's interesting. I think that's got my roused my interest. Not sure what they mean by that. That's okay. They mean from the previous model, I think. Together with some armour plating protection for the pilot, aircraft were used by a number of air forces. Maximum speed 348 miles an hour. It's not bad, is it? Yes, it can shift, obviously. I'll show you this. Just I'm not doing a full review, but let's just have a quick shifting, just for your amusement. So we've got a stereotypically very austere sort of seat for the pilot here. Very basic, ubiquitous seat. Completely standard construction, just throwing it in between the two halves of the fuselage, doing your spinner and your prop. And I just remembered something that always annoyed me on this model. It doesn't have, you have to drill out the nose of the spinner. And this always annoyed me. Just jumping forward to the plastic. But yeah, you need to drill it out to make it look realistic for the cannon, you know. But anyway, which it doesn't mention there. Anyway, here we've got, you've got your top deck with your machine guns going in, canopy going on, tailplanes going on, very standard stuff. Top and bottom wings together, plus your antenna, your undercarriage there. You've got the tropical air filter going on the side for the intake, and then yeah, just like cannons going on. Cannons going on the wings, the radiators underneath, and the gear going in the pitot, and the exhaust stubs. And that's it. All pretty standard stuff. On the back, you've got your small parts paint guide. It almost makes the spinner look like it hasn't got the flat nose to it, you know. Anyway, there we go. That is the 109. So let's have a look at the plastic. Like coming back a bit. Whoa, there we go. Right then. So this has got really. Has it got? It's actually got raised panel lines, but there's very few of them on the 109, so it's not really much of a problem. And they're very faint as well. So it wouldn't bother me. That wouldn't bother me. And it's in this rather strange, dare I say again, almost dog dirt colour. It's not very pleasant, is it? Really? What is that? Is that mauve? Is it? Or yeah, mustard. I think I'd call it mustard colour. Yes. And I say there is your spinner which needs drilling out, and then you've got your left hand side complete with your the top cowl area with the machine guns on it, and your landing gear wheels, etc. And then other sprue, we've got the wings and the tail planes, etc. Now here we've got recessed panel lines, completely recessed. It looks fine, really. It's okay, you know. Ideal for the young model of this. Throw this together in a weekend, even a day, to be honest. There's nothing to it at all. You're not painting it, you can build this in a day, easy. Build it in a couple of hours, probably, if you really go for it. So there we have it. So that's your 109E. With that absolutely stellar artwork on it. I'm going to take my glasses and put my other ones back, the standard ones. There we go. Very nice though, isn't it? It's a lovely, I think its artwork almost commands it. It's almost like, look at me, look at me. Sorry, what I didn't mention, I've got some decals here which are looking perhaps not at their best. Quick look at those. Romanian decals and the German ones. Probably still usable though, in fairness. And the ubiquitous Matchbox stand. Aren't they lovely? A design classic. And then our little caliper here, which is a nice one, really. You know, for its day. Obviously, you get your antenna goes in the top of it. Quite a nice little canopy. No problem there. Super. All in all, a really nice kit. You know, nice, small, easy to handle. 109's not a big aircraft anyway, so it's not huge when you built it. Let's pop that back in there. And there we go. That is a very nice kit. And then another particularly nice one, the Wildcat. Here's another one of these. This isn't just violent, this artwork. This reminds me of a Clockwork Orange with Malcolm McDowell. This is ultra violence. Look at this. This is a bit of the old ultra violent, as Malcolm McDowell would say. Look at it. This is a real hell on earth almost. On the carrier deck, you've got a Japanese kamikaze crashing into the carrier. There's a bomb, or a kamikaze has already gone off. And it says, forgive me because I'm going to have to swap the glasses again. It says Hellcats have the hi-hats. Roar from the flight deck of the USS Yorktown. Uh-oh. Oopsie poopsie, this is not going to go well, is it? During the Marianas Turkey shoot in June the 19th, 1944, the hi-hats destroyed 37 of the 354 Japanese aircraft claimed that day. Oh, just them claimed 37 out of 354 downed planes. Wow, of course this was the day that the Japanese lost most of the naval strength. A combined force of 15 US carriers. I mean, they got shot to bits, didn't they? But look at the glory of this artwork. And of course this was one where Roy Huxley was particularly upset about this image having to be painted out and being forced to take out all the flames, all the violence and all the destruction. It's even got, if you look very carefully, you can even see you've got the firefighters with their hoses fighting the fires. Look at that. Isn't it brilliant? And there's the kamikaze coming straight in towards what looks like the island of the... It looks like its tail's just been shot off. Unbelievable. What a brilliant piece of art. One of the... Again, I'd say that's probably in my top 3, top 5 of Roy Huxley's work. Brilliant. Anyway, this particular kit I've got a real passion for, which... Sorry, I need to change my glasses because I really can't even see the screen there properly. Ooh, that's better. I've got a real passion for this one because it's this lift top Mark 1 box. So this is one of the originals. On the side it has... Sorry, I should have done this before I zoom back really. On the side it's got the showing the colours of the... Now here's another one that's a bit of a strange choice. If any of you have seen the Corsair, which has light blue and pale blue, the F4U Corsair, very rational, good choices. This one less so. What do you think? Have a look at this. 2 different shades of green. Now why would you do that on a naval aircraft? It's like olive green and, I think olive green and pea green almost, really. Wow, very odd. Strange choices. And then on the side, of course, we get the following that, the Mirage Harrier and the Messerschmitt 109E, which we've just seen. And then, of course, because it's a lift-top box, we get this beautiful, fantastic design where you've got the details about the stand on one side, all of your small parts, paint guide on the other side, bit of international blurb, and then some other items for the small parts guide on that side. Is it actually a replication? I think it might be a replication. Okay, so some strange olive green, purple, and then mushy pea green, mushy peas, don't ask me why. We have got some fairly reasonable looking sort of stars and bars, and you've got the Southeast Asia RAF option, because I forgot to say, I wash my mouth out, Jason hears that, and be very cross with me. Sorry, I mean Royal Navy, what am I saying, RAF? Dream on. The Fleet Air Arm, in fact, from the Indomitable, the HMS Indomitable, that's the other option you have, or the high hats on the Yorktown. Yep. And the Yorktown did sink, didn't it? If my memory serves. The Yorktown went down eventually, took a lot of hits, as you could see from that artwork. Anyway, we get a most beautiful printed instruction leaflet, which is one of these that looks genuinely like it was printed yesterday. It's so distinctive and very, very vibrant looking. This is one of the 1970. Is it 73 or 72? I've got a feeling it might be 72. No, it's actually 73. I know the 0 is numbered as 72. Something we might look at another day. Anyway, usual thing, you know, I won't go through it in detail, but usual construction, building up your basic rudimentary pilot seat, put the pilot in, building up your engine frontage, stick it all in within the fuselage, and then put your canopy on, tailplanes, stubby wings, which are actually in two sections. They have like an inboard and an outboard. It doesn't actually fold though, sadly, it's a bit of a shame. It's got the fold lines in it there. And then you got your gear and your tanks going on, really. So this is an out-and-out fighter. It's not carrying anything apart from some fuel down the centre line. That means to see the plastic, and here we go. So there's the olive green. You can see where the fold line is here for the wings. But as I say, they don't actually fold. All recessed panel lines here though. It's not raised this time. And then on the other one you've got your fuselage with your mushy pea green. Why they didn't do these blue and grey or blue and blue, I don't know. But anyway. Even blue and white, you know. I'm not sure mushy peas is appropriate for the Navy, but there we go. It's almost like they didn't know, isn't it? Those two colours really are more of a, you know, an aircraft that would be fighting over the jungle rather than actually out on carriers. There we go. And then we've got the ubiquitous stand, of course, and we've got our canopy, which is actually detached. It has in fact detached from its sprue, which holds it at the back. This looks quite decent, you know. Fairly reasonable, isn't it? And then that just leaves us with the that just leaves us with the beautiful box, really. This I particularly like this particular example because it's absolutely mint throughout. It's got a mint box, a Mark 1 mint box, and it's got, you know, the lovely. I'm going to leave them. So the beauty of these boxes is you can avoid scratching of the kit because you can put the first sprue in, then you can put your instructions in flat, and then have the other sprue sit on top, keeping it flat, stops them rubbing. It's a win-win, absolute win-win. And then you end up with your final lid coming down. And that is, I consider this to be one of the best, if not the best, of the purple range in terms of condition that I've got. It's a real beauty. It's a real beauty. So that's very nice. And then the last two, both from the same era, 1944. We've got the Messerschmitt 262 and the Tempest. So we'll go with the 262 first, I think. Now, everybody talks about the, again, fantastic artwork in this. Fantastic artwork. Really, really good. So this is the wheels for the Messerschmitt 262. Let me read it for you because I can't. It's got this very tiny print, which doesn't help. B-17s of the US 8th Air Force experience the devastating speed and firepower of the world's first operational jet fighter, the ME-262-1A, or Wespe, Swallow, 1944. Isn't that beautiful? Now, this is another one of those where Roy Huxley became very cross when they made him paint this out for the 1980s for whatever reason. He had to paint out the swastika, but more importantly, he had to paint out all the action, and you end up with this anemic, silly looking image. But anyway. On the side, here we've got some slightly more appropriate colourings. We've got wings that are green, wings and tail planes. Horizontal stabilisers are green, and the rest of it's kind of grey, which looks about right. And then we have got the Fighter Unit Commando Novotny Akhmer, October 1944, or the Edelweiss Squadron Kampfgeschwader 51. Rhine Airfield, where's that? Somewhere pretty close to home, November 44. So this is really defending Berlin by the sounds of it. You can see the grey in there. Let's have a quick looky, because this is another one of those nice ones. Now, maybe not the most detailed kit that they ever did. But then again, it's sort of shape, it's all about aerodynamics, this aircraft, isn't it? So it's not a huge amount you can do at 72nd scale, really. So first of all, we've got our ubiquitous Matchbox stand. I've seen that before. Very nice little canopy. Whoops! There we go. Lovely little canopy. And windscreen. And then we have our shipping instructions. I've got to say, the thing that disappointed me is they've gone for this. They have gone for this mushy pea green again. It's not a dark green, which it would have been better with, I think. However, it's not. And they've actually gone for a. I've just noticed, I actually built this kit only about 10 years ago, and this colour, I don't know if you can tell on the camera, it's got a slight beiginess look to it. It's not as grey as the one that I built, that was more of a pale grey. And this has got a little bit of a tint in it, almost like a tan or a fawn tint. Beige, you know. And then we've got our instructions in very good condition. This particular one is a 73 original box with the window. Very nice. Top speed. Hang on, I'm definitely going to need these other glasses. It's wearing out my eyes. Top speed is 538 miles per hour. So this is basically 100 miles an hour faster than anything else. Yeah, including the Mosquito. 4 30mm cannons. And of course Adolf Hitler wanted it to have bombs, didn't he? And that caused all sorts of problems because it altered the centre of gravity and messed it up completely. It was never intended to be that, was it? First jet fighter entered service toward the end of 1944. Took 6 years to develop. The fighter version, the ME-262A1A Schwalbe, is a second version of the 262A Sturmvogel, adapted as a fighter bomber. That was the disastrous one, really. I mean, you know, it's too fast. Very difficult to aim the bombs, and it couldn't carry enough weight of bombs, and it's just not a good bomber design, not at all. Wrong idea completely. It was never intended to be that. By the end of the war, 100 aircraft had been used in operations with considerable success. Had it not been for the assistance of developing it as a bomber, it could have been a formidable addition to German air power. So in other words, they wasted about half or 2/3 of them, converting them into bomber crackers. That was madness, wasn't it? At the end of the day, you got something small and fast. You want it as a fighter, surely, especially when you're under that kind of aerial onslaught. Just to try and make it some offensive weapon when you're not only offensive is just silly, really. Anyway, so much for the strategy and the politics of it. There you go. It's got all the traditional markings. Very good. and actually in good condition as well. Got our instructions here, very simple, usual, very basic chair, and then the very interesting shaped, what reminds me of a shark, this aircraft. Pretty sure that's where they got the idea from, really. Got your UMO jet engines. You've got your jet engines going in under the wings there, putting your canopy on, putting your centre section of the fuselage underneath, and then you've got, for the fighter bomber version, you get the bombs included in the kit. Well, that's cool, isn't it? That's really good. So there you go, you get to put those on as well as all the undercarriage at the end, if you want to go and have it as a bomber as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it does look a lot more dramatic with the bombs on. Just not the best combat aircraft. Not using its strengths, I don't think. There we go. Small parts paint guide. There you are. Okay, so a quick look at the plastic. Just a quick shifty. And then we'll get to the last one, which is the Tempest for today. And we've got our, as I say, rather strange mushy green, mushy peas green. Maybe you could call it olive green, I don't know. Somewhere between the two, isn't it, really? All recessed panel lines. You've got your bombs there. And, you know, what strikes you, remember, these are very much made to a price, these kits were. There's no flash. Yeah, there's no clean-up required for children to build it. What you've got to do is cleanly snip it off. Maybe just trim it. Maybe just rub it with a little sanding stick where you've trimmed off the nub of from the sprue. And that's it. There's no great clean-up required. There's no excessive work. You just glue it together. Look at how clean the edges are. You just glue it together, and you have got yourself the world's first jet fighter. Look at that. Isn't it nice? These ribs here are slightly raised. They weren't raised on the real aircraft, were they? I don't think so. No. But they're quite subtle, in fairness, and again, it wouldn't bother me that. Just the ribs here, just this section here. There you go. So that's your Messerschmitt 262. A real kicking fighter, that is. Nice model. Nice model. Swap those away again to the normal one so you can see what I'm doing. Right, there we go. Excellent. And you know, did you ever see better artwork? It's one of the best, isn't it, really? It's definitely with Roy Huxley's finest work again. I seem to keep repeating myself and saying that a lot, but it's just so dramatic, you know. It's I think that particular artwork has got a touch of the Roy Cross about it from Airfix, because he used to do these he was also known for these very violent scenes, wasn't he? And they were appropriate because they were very violent scenes it was involved in. Anyway, finally, this is an interesting one for a different reason. This is the Hawker Tempest. Now, I was going to show you mine, and I've forgotten to get it out, but it's not. I'll show it in a later episode, perhaps. I'll show you the kit now. I'll show you the finished one in the next episode. It's not my finest work, but I did paint that one. And this is actually over Cyprus. This is actually after the end of the war, 1945, and a fantastic aircraft, which was of course used in World War II. They came out and they were very, they were almost regarded as the ultimate fighter at the time. I think it was the most powerful piston engine fighter, and it was used against the V1 flying bombers for that reason. People like Roland B. Munt were aces in these aircraft, and they sort of kept them back for initially in 1944 anyway. They kept them back initially for the defence of the UK against those kind of weapons, and then once the Allies had got their foothold in Europe, then they went across the Channel and started dishing it out to the Luftwaffe, you know, in the sort of Arnhem campaign and Ardennes campaign, etc. You've got an unusual couple of options here. So you've got this Nicosia post-war option, November 45, just after the end of the war. This has unusually got some tape. I'm not going to remove it, but that's the original tape there. Just a bit too much tape. That's Matchbox factory tape. Damn them! They've been a bit careless there. And then you've got this Royal Indian Air Force because you've got the it's the Mark II Tempest, isn't it? So you've got the Royal Indian Air Force, based in Pune in India, which of course looks like the Sea Fury, which is what basically the Sea Fury was, a development of. And it makes it very interesting that you've got this sort of development option within the kit. Let's have a look. Let's take a closer look. Because this is nice when they do major revisions, and they did something similar with the Wellington, didn't they? The Red Range kit. Something we might have a quick shifty at later. Not today. But this is nice because you do get quite a major revision. So we've got our canopy here. There we go. Close enough. There you go. How's that? That's alright, isn't it? Still in mint condition on its sprue. Ubiquitous Matchbox stand, in-flight stand, which we really do approve of, and we want more of that. But then we've got some, again, strange colours, some, dare I call it, some dog dirt yellow, yellow-brown, or mustard. Okay, let's try and be generous. Try and be civil about it. Call it mustard yellow. But it's the moulding of this kit is really nice. Now, if you have a little closer look at some of these parts, so here's your optional front end. I'm just going to diverge slightly here. I'm just going to drop away, and I'm going to read you the alternative glasses. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to read you what it says. So it's the Mark. Okay. The Tempest was developed from the early Typhoon and first entered active service in 1944. Due to its high top speed, so I'm just going to have some coffee, excuse me one second. Due to its high top speed of 438 miles per hour, it destroyed no less than 638 V1 flying bombs. That's a lot, isn't it? Oh my lord. Between the 13th of June and the beginning of September 1944, when the sites were finally overrun. This aircraft formed the mainstay of the defence against these missiles. The Tempest Mark II aircraft, fitted with the Bristol Centaurus engines, were sold to India, so it's the Mark II, yeah. And later makes, including the Mark VI, continued his service with the RAF for some time after World War II. It's almost a shame, you know. It's one of those aircraft that the Germans probably wish they had the Messerschmitt 262 in the Battle of Britain, and we wish we had this one in the Battle of Britain. And it was pretty quick. I mean, it wasn't as quick as the 262, but 438 miles per hour. Pretty sure it went quicker than that in a dive. The Mark II did 442 miles per hour, 15,000 feet. Okay, anyway, there we go. So, I'll just show the instructions, just to talk about the nose, and then we'll look at the plastic to round off on this one. Whoops, a bit of trouble with my zooming at the moment. So, yep, you start off the normal way, getting your pilot into his seat, putting your fuselage sides together, and then you get this option. So this is the important bit, really, where you get to decide whether you want to have the Mark II Tempest or the standard version, which are completely different, of course, and have a completely different engine and different intake and everything. So it's like a radial engine, which it isn't on the standard version with the Sabia Napier engine. Sabia Napier engine. Am I right in saying that? Was it 24 cylinders? I think it was. It's basically two V12s strapped together. Fantastic engine, a huge amount of power. But I do like the look of the Mark II, if I'm honest. So it does show you then here, you've got this option with the question mark, whether you're going to put that front on it or the standard front. This makes it one of the more interesting Matchbox kits in this respect, I think. So you've got a choice of which nose you want to go on there, and then you've got put your wings on. You've got your four-bladed prop, of course, and then finally you've got your undercarriage and your exhaust stubs going on, and that's it really. So let's just have a look again at those options there. So we'll look a bit closer this time. So here's your Mark II with the Centaurus engine, which is basically, becomes the Sea Fury. And then you've got this big tail, obviously, with this filleted tail. But look at the quality of the quality of the actual moulding here for a second. Look at those wheels, aren't they nicely done? I remember when it came out in period in 70, was it 73, 74? 74, yeah. I remember thinking that was really nice moulding, and it was so crisp. I mean, this is almost pink Matchbox, you could say, because you've got here's the other option of the standard for the Napier Sabre engine, the standard cowling and front end, which is much deeper with a big deep radiator intake. So basically the Centaurus must have been a radio engine, I'm guessing. I hope I'm right in saying that. And there you go, and there's your enormous, it is big, isn't it? Look at the size of it compared to my hand, it's pretty big, that. Really big propeller. 4-bladed, you can understand, coupled with the very powerful engine, that it really does explain why it was so fast. And then you can see the exhausts here for the Centaurus Mark II version. It's a nice sprue, that, although I don't like the colour very much. The actual the moulding quality is absolutely fantastic. We've got some decals which don't look too bad there. Reasonable condition, those, I think. And then finally we've got this sort of olive green, like a dark olive green. It's almost like a Sherman bronze olive green, isn't it? For the wings. All recessed panel lines on this one. And you've got your, down here you've got your radiator intake. I think part of it is for the supercharger, isn't it, as well? It did have a supercharger, didn't it? Yes, I'm sure it did. I think it may have a twin, actually. And then on this side you can see the underside of the wings. Yeah, it's a nice kit. Just be very wary if you build it. You'll see mine later in the next episode that you've got to watch out for the gap at the wing joint. It's quite a few of the Matchbox kits suffered with that, actually. It's a little bit of a weakness. These days I think more attention gets paid. More attention gets paid to that kind of thing than it did then. Wasn't considered to be priority. It's not a huge gap, don't get me wrong, it's just a little gappy. So, that I think is really, really nice. So I'm going to pop that back in and that away. And that's going to be it for today. I hope you found that interesting. And got your juices flowing, made you want to go out and rush out and buy Matchbox kits. And I hope did not make you want to rush out and start building them. Saying you can't do that. That's like, you know, it's like I said something the other day. So it's like saying, oh, I'm really hungry tonight, and I know the dodo bird is quite a tasty thing. Let's have roast dodo bird, because if you keep eating the dodo bird, oh damn, it's extinct. Yeah. Well, the same thing's going to happen to you with Matchbox if you don't stop building them, especially the old ones. Look at these. These are all originals. Every one here. Is before 1975. Every damn one of them. Okay. How could you? How could you? Stop it! Stop it! You'll never go to heaven if you do that. Killing little angels, you know. Anyway. I'm surprised there isn't an industry sprung up just selling Matchbox boxes, you know, because there must be a lot of boxes from you sinners with your pagan festival Matchbox March who've destroyed a kit, built kit. I can't say destroy when I see the quality of some of your work. Some of you viewers, some of you I know like to build them and just keep quiet about it. You're watching me and you're saying, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep my head down. I'm not going to pop my head above the parapet. But some of the standard of work, we've got our friend up in the northeast. I'm sorry, my brain's gone. My name's just escaped me. That does creative time wasting is his YouTube channel. He's one of these people that makes me fume. But by God, his work's fantastic. And that's the, you know, I looked at, which one did he do? One of the armour kits. One of the orange range, I forget which one it was now. It looked absolutely superb. And a lot of the work I see, you know, I've got this thing where I almost refuse to, excuse me, I almost refuse to do a professional job on it on purpose. Because I just feel it takes away from my memory of them. But if you are completely objective and you just look at some of these people's work, they really look good. You know, the original concept of the Matchbox with the dioramas especially, they look amazing, some of those armour kits. Anyway, something I can tell you that will be coming up, we'll talk about, will be next month. We've got, just digressing slightly, but I'll explain why. We've got ICM coming up with Monty's Caravan. And I mentioned that, of course, because Matchbox have got the Monty's Caravan orange range set. It comes with a little scout car, and it's got the generals, which I'm pretty sure ICM took this as an inspiration, where you've got General Brooke and Horrocks and Monty having a briefing in the square, and this was the Matchbox diorama, and now ICM have done those figures, and now Monty's Caravan Leyland Retriever comes out next month, so there's a real time in Matchbox there as well. So no doubt next month I'll be mentioning Matchbox quite a lot when that comes out. So yeah, I think you'll find that yeah, I don't like to see these being built unless they are the either a knackered box like I have. If it looks like somebody stomped on the box, you know, not so collectible, then fill your boots, you know. Just don't quote me, you know. But it's best if you can get one of the Revell ones and then, you know, do what you want with it, really. Because with these, the box is part of the charm, really. It's part of the heritage, so to speak. Anyway, there we go. That's it for today. It's quite enough for today. God. I hope you enjoyed that, and plenty more to come. I say I'm going to try and dash through them a bit more because I've done every single one of these. I've done a full review on, so I feel I'm in danger of repeating that. But of course, a lot of you, I've got 10,000 odd subscribers now, and a lot of you have not seen a lot of those, and you haven't found them yet. So you won't know, and you probably won't have seen them, perhaps half of you. So if nothing else, it'll whet your appetite to get you go and look at my channel and use the search button and have a look at the full detail review. Anyway, I'll be back, as Arnie used to say. He was making some quite amusing comments the other day, wasn't he, about the American government, but I won't get into any of that. It did make me smile a little bit. I'll be back, like Arnie, with some more of these, and I'm going to be looking at, I've got it to hand, and I've got the 32nd scale Spitfire and the Messerschmitt to have a quick look at, which is something that I know a lot of you enjoyed. And they were perhaps particularly emotional ones for many of us because they were a bit more expensive, not pocket money kits like these, and therefore many of you, like me, will have probably associated those with birthdays and Christmas and special occasions. You know, maybe if you'd passed your exams or something like that, or a test or something at school, Mum and Dad might have rewarded you with something like that. So that'll bring some good memories for a lot of us, I'm sure. So we've got those to come. We've got the orange range to look at, more armour. Going to be digging into what's the other one I promised to do. We've got some red range, really nice red range. I love the red range kits. They were kind of they were the most expensive ones I could afford to buy with pocket money by saving up for 2 weeks. And again, I'm sure most of you will be going, yeah, that was safe for me. Or I'll get a good paper round, and then you could suddenly afford these things. I think when they came out, they were about 95p, the red range, either 75 to 95p, that range of price. And the orange range was sort of 50p to 60p, and these were 23 to 30p. And that's where they were at price-wise. If only you could go back with today's inflated prices and today's pocket money, you know what I mean? Anyway, there we go, enough of me. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you found this little wander down memory lane and a trip into nostalgia. I hope you enjoyed it. Plenty more where they came from. So I shall return, as MacArthur said, I will return. In the meantime, please give us a thumbs up, give us a like. Don't forget, before I finish and you all click off, don't forget at the end to give me a thumbs up. And I will look forward to seeing you all again very soon indeed. In the meantime, thanks very much. Take care of yourselves. Stay well, stay safe. Thanks a lot. And bye for now.